Hi guys, welcome to another video. In this video it's, well, what we're showing is a class 17 and it's made by EFE in N-Gauge, and I tell you now, this thing just runs superbly. If you're thinking of getting one, don't even hesitate, just get one. The pickups are great, so power delivery to the main cab is good, and also this thing can be run on DCC. We'll come to that later, but most of the videos you'll see are on DC. Now, a bit of background, this train in real life, they produced around 117 of them. Now, it was known as the Clayton Type 1, I guess, again, amongst engineers and things. And they produced these between 1962 and 1965. Now, there's an engine front and rear that is putting out, I think it was the Bachmann. I do believe I'm right in saying that they were 6-cylinder engines each. Either way, they were both putting out 450 horsepower. Now, the cab's in the middle because the company, the Clayton Equipment Company, and the subcontractor they got to also build this with them, Bayer, Peacock and Co., they wanted the cab in the middle for visibility for the driver. And it makes actually quite a bit of sense, because if you're in the middle of the train and you're going one way, and then you are then going the other way on the track, you don't have to turn the train round, and B, the visibility is going to be pretty consistent. Your depth of perception is going to be the same front to rear. So I quite like that idea. And also, a safety aspect, I guess, for the drivers. There's a bit of a crumple zone for them, isn't there? But it's a lovely train. It's BR blue, so it's a definite win for me. I think they do this in different colours. I think they do a BR green. They definitely do a BR blue that's not weathered, but I do like this weathered one. And what we're doing here is, this is me testing on a DC just to see how slow I can get the thing going, and it's to give you an idea of what it is like. I've just got this out of the box and put it on the track basically. There's a bit of a wobble there. Now that is simply because of the articulation on the bogies, which is a good thing. After a bit of running, I'm sure that will disappear. Now here in the video I'm showing you how it traverses points. Now that's going literally over a bit of dead track there, but because the pickups are so good on the loco, it doesn't stop at all. You could probably put sound on this if you could find a way of putting it in there. I'm sure there's space. And you might not even need to stay alive. It's just so consistently not losing power. It's fantastic. Now the reason, now FJR Steve from Australia, the reason this video's come about is simply because of yourself, and I do quite like the idea of showing people what these things are like. Now if I saw this, well, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd just buy one of these. They just run fantastic. I would put them up there with the way the Dapple HST runs, and I'm only saying that because that's the only thing really I can compare it to, and they run lovely. The lights are fantastic. I did notice, and you'll probably see it a bit later on, you might see red bleeding through onto the track. Easily fixed, but that might not be on all of them, and a bit of blue tack would sort that out if that was really worrying you. It doesn't worry me. But yeah, it's absolutely lovely. So yeah, I keep moving it forwards and backwards. This is me literally trying to catch it out, trying to make sure it won't stop, and I couldn't get it to lose pickup power on the track at all. Okay, so I thought I'd just show you this. Now I'll have a look in a second, but the instructions that come with this class 17 from EFE, there are accessories with the loco. We'll come to that in a second. But also, out the box it runs on DC, and then this is what comes with the loco. You remove the bottom hatch battery box to get to the decoder socket, and I will confirm this in a second, but that's an X18 socket. So we'll come to that in a second. So what I'll do is I'll actually run it on DCC, and we'll see what the difference is on a crawl over that point that we've just seen on DC. But it just goes through the usual how to clean it and whatnot. We'll come to the box because it's different to It's different to most other locos, like the Graham Farish boxes or Dapol boxes. It's quite a long box. It's just one of them sleeve types that slides out the end. And I'm not used to doing reviews. And it's not really a review as such, I just wanted to show you what you get. So those little bits, or the plough that you just saw in those instructions, are actually in a detail pack. And there's a lot of pipe work and pieces in here. I won't get them out, because really I'm only ever going to put these on when it comes to my layout time, which isn't just yet, so I just keep them in the box for the time being. There's some actual extra detailed couplings there. See if I can get it a bit closer so you can see. The detail work on the loco itself is absolutely exquisite, and I've got the weathered version, so just pop those back in there. In fact, I'll put them in there. Turn that over. So yeah, so it comes in a nice foam inlaid box. We'll just slide that back in, and this will basically go with all my other boxes until the layout's done. And then what I'll do is I'll do a hunt for the for all the pieces when that time comes. So it's important for me to, in my case, I make sure they all run, and I get the basics in them to where I want them. So it'll be DCC in most cases. A lot of my locos actually will be staying DC because I haven't won the lottery just yet. No. I think it's nice to have them DC sometimes as well, though, to be fair. But the loco itself, we'll grab that a sec. Okay, what I wanted to show you here was the loco itself actually feels quite light to me, so I'm just going to turn these scales on and just show you. Okay, so what we've got here, this is a die-cast bodied pull type Graham Farish class 20. Now in my eyes, it's a similar sort of class to the 17, and that comes in at 89 grams, which isn't too bad. But it feels quite heavy, and just out of coincidence, or curiosity, shall we say, the class 17, it feels a bit lighter. Wow, yeah, it does, because it's half the weight. Wow. But don't let that put you off, because as you'll see in the videos that I do, and this shows you the length difference between the two, which I guess would be, the real world, it can actually pull a heck of a lot. I was quite surprised. So that's 44 grams, it is super light. The body must be plastic, which oddly enough, EFE started off doing die cast with their buses in 1/76 scale, I believe it was. So I'm sure they do other things. It's odd that it's plastic. Plastic body, but the details, yeah, I don't know why, I'm just drawn to it. The bogey's gimbal ever so lovely here. I'm not sure how the pickups are arranged inside, or how it gets its power up to the loco, because I can't really see. I think what they do is they put a piece up to a plate up here, and it's just swiveling on that. I don't think there's any wires. But yeah, oh man, it's a lovely bit of kit. Right, so you've got the weight there. Next thing we're going to do, get my trusty bit of foam. Let's just have a look into here, because apparently the chip is in here without breaking it. And there she is. So I can tell you without fail that in this case it is an X18 blanking plug that. So I think what I'm going to do is just toy around. I've got an X18 chip I'm going to put in here, and I'll just tune it up as best I can, and then we'll run it around the track. So this should just pop out like that. I'm just keeping the right orientation here because it is handed. I'm going to keep that foam on there. I'm intrigued to see how it runs on DCC. DC, you'll see with the crawl, that's basically as slow as I can go with the controller I've got, but with DCC, we're really going to see how slow it can go, because I can now play around with the settings, and it'll be interesting to see how the lights perform and things. So we'll be back in a minute with it on DCC. Okay, so we're back on. I've left the light off purposely here, so if we go forwards and I select the light on, there we go, the light code there lights up, off, on. Now if we were going backwards, the rear lights would come on, and I can control them on and off as well. Now the beauty of it doing it on DCC is it's the correct brightness. Now you can adjust this in the settings, but the real beauty is the cruise speed. There's no nasty noises. And there you go, look. And we'll go backwards. So again, it's Next 18 chip type. And very, very quiet. It's just how you would want the loco to be, unless you're putting sound in it. Doesn't hesitate over the junctions either. So I mean, you'd get a much better run out of this. Obviously going to DCC. That's the slowest I can make this go at the moment, which is a nice speed. So yeah, hopefully that will answer your question whether it can be DCC okay or not. Just stop at that. And I'll show you some running. Most of the running is with DC. If it's making a whining noise, that's coming from the motor inside, but that's actually really coming from a controller. If you get probably a Gauge Master, a good controller, you'll be able to control the lower speeds, maybe even less than this. I'm sure if I tune this up a little bit more, I could run it slower and change the back EMF settings and whatnot. But it does run a lot quieter, especially in my case on DCC. And it's nice that you can just put the chip underneath instead of having to open it up. So actually, let's just come over here. So I'm going to put it back on DC. Now I did refer to the instruction manual when I did this, so the chip just literally pops out like so. And here, just for your I don't know, reference, this is a Gauge Master Next 18 chip, so it's a lot longer than the blanking plug. See if I can find out what part number that is. It's one of these. Okay, so I know these definitely fit because that's what that is in there, and that's what was just running it. Another option you could have is these are from Lais, L-A-I-S. They're on eBay at the minute, and they've got Stay Alive wires coming off of them. I'm not sure where you would put a Stay Alive, however, or whether you even need one, because there's so many pickups here. You could probably put one in the cab area, or there might possibly be space in here, but I'm not going to open it up and have a look, because I don't want to break anything on it. But just so you know, there are other alternatives, and that I'm pretty sure would fit in there as well. It would fit in there, yeah. So I'm going to put the blanking plug back on, and we'll just continue to run the thing around the track on DC, because the whining noise on it doesn't really matter, and for the time being anyway. Now, a bit like Graham Farish, these tangs could probably be quite brittle in a way, so you want to put one end in first, and instead of just grunching it in, kind of like push down and in, and I'll show you this. He says, I just don't want to break it, please don't break. There we go, she's on. And actually a good way of remembering which way round this goes is the steps will be where the door is, because you wouldn't want the steps over here. When you take it off, just lift it down and out. Just be careful, try not to snap the tangs off. But on DC, she's great. The lights work both directions. And on DCC you can control those lights. You can dim them as well depending on which chip you get. But I love the Gauge Master chips. They work a treat. So anyway, let's get on anyway with a bit more running of the loco around the track with some carriages. Now, considering how lightweight this is, it pulls quite a bit, and it just doesn't seem to struggle. I think if you're on an incline with a long train, you would have an issue, simply because if you're pulling over the weight of the loco, then gravity takes over. Then it's the heaviest part's going to want to drag down towards Earth. So if you've got a whole rake that weighs about 1 kilo and you're dragging it with 50 grams, it's just not going to work up a hill. It'll definitely be going backwards down the hill, but nonetheless, we'll crack on. Let's have a look at some more videos.